Hello, welcome back to another fabulous video. I'm Jacob from J Bookscore, and today we are talking about writing, but especially book writing. Book writing is a series on my channel where I kind of update you guys every few months on where I'm at with the writing and things. Right now, because I've not really been filming vlogs and stuff, this is like the best way to keep you updated on the process, and so we're gonna talk about it. So essentially, what we have here is I had something really cool that happened. I participated a little bit in camp as much as I possibly could before the whole month turned to the whole month that it turned into, and I got a lot of writing done, to be fair. I think we wrote upwards of like 10,000 or so words, which is amazing. I hit that breaching point between 20 to 30k, and that's always the part that that's the part where I feel like I end up messing something up. I end up going in a wrong pathway or something, are those lines, and yeah, we're doing really good, which I'm really excited about. So with that being said, we are currently sitting at 29,389 words in my current work in project, which is called Project Sarah. Project Sarah is about a girl named Sarah who is getting revenge during a zombie apocalypse, and I was trying to debate if I was going to announce it was during a zombie apocalypse or not, or wait until the reveal happens inside the novel. The reveal that happens in a zombie apocalypse isn't exactly until part 4 though of the story structure, which is about halfway through the novel. Maybe a little bit before the halfway mark, and I feel like that's a little too deep into a zombie apocalypse novel to tell you it's a zombie apocalypse novel, and so I actually just started it with it being opened. The only thing here is I'm very familiar with the characters in the world, and I'm going to explain kind of why that is here in a second. And so I feel like the opening, when you read it, one, I don't have a line, I don't have a paragraph that really catches your attention yet, so I got to do that. I feel like it's like one of those things where it's like, oh, what is this? And then I'm hoping that as the story progresses, you'll be like, oh, what is this? I rewrote one of the plot lines, which we'll talk about as well, which probably means that the story is going to come in around 60k, a little bit under 60k, I'm assuming, but I'm not sure. So that being said, let's broad talk it, right? First things first, like I said, I participated in camp last month, and I wrote all these words and stuff, and one of the things I did is I finished a section, which was really cool. So the way the story structure of this book is, it's kind of like A Little Life up there by Hanya Guerra, or It by Stephen King down there, where it's broken up into sections. So we have like chapter 1, and then in the chapter, each scene is its own like little version of chapter type of thing, which is kind of hard to do because you have to make sure each point is hit. You have to make sure each scene is relevant and necessary because you're demanding it from the audience to read it. Some of these scenes can go on for quite a while. I have a scene in here that's like 3,000 words long. I have scenes in here that are a little less than that. I have scenes in here that are a little longer than that. But the moral of the story here is that it is a structure that is kind of challenging, which I really enjoy, and I'm enjoying that type of brace. But that being said, because this is a zombie apocalypse story, and when I first started it, which I talked about before, I read the inciting incident and a little bit after that, and I was like, who is this character? I love her so much. How do I explore this story? And I decided the only way to do that is to go backwards in time and kind of like explore her entire life up to the point where we meet her in the beginning of the book. That actually takes place 7 years before, and so I wrote 7 years, 5 years, 3 years, in 1 year before actually starting the initial novel. We are actually just now starting the beginning of the book, which is pretty crazy. I've never done anything like this before, and it was a really fun way to do it. I wrote the entire B-plot storyline. It's done. I wrote it all. There is a complete storyline between 7 to 1 that follows a through line, and there's like little twists and turns that have nothing to do with the main storyline. So when you go over there, you get to hear about these characters, but they all end kind of on a cliffhanger type of situation. And so like when you come back to it, you're like, oh, where are they at? And I think it's really fun. It's really exciting, and I think it'll be a nice little thing for a structural reason for the book. So like when you go from chapter 1 to chapter 2, it's gonna be two different things, and you go to chapter 2 to chapter 3, so forth and so forth. And so I'm really looking forward to that aspect of the story as well, and to be able to see what people's thoughts and opinions in reading that is. I keep going back and forth, this is a duology or not. The way the structure of the book is, it does make perfect sense that it is a duology, but I do wonder how people are going to feel with the fact that most of the book does take place in the past, and the actual acts of revenge are slim, because most of it does take place in the second half of the novel. But I have a thing where I keep doing is where I like a switch. I like to change it up. For instance, when I wrote Code 9, my switch up was a POV. I wrote a third person POV for the first section, which I counted as a very elongated 30,000 word prologue, to when we actually jumped into the book, it turned into a first person point of view that took place 17 years after the events of the beginning. It was a huge time jump. Now, in that regard, we are here, and it's the same thing. The second half of the novel, where she is headed, where the story is going, the second half, or the second book in this duology, is very different. It's not really a zombie story. It really isn't. It's about people, and it's about human connection, and like ranks and stuff, and there are 10 chapters in it as well, plus the epilogue, and that's pretty much planned out. I have pretty much the entire idea of that story done in my brain, which is nice. And so we'll definitely be able to, like, I have this whole entire thing almost done. Either way, but I did finish the 1 year before section, which was crazy. I couldn't believe I finished it because I had been working on it for so long. And so now we're starting with the first chapter. I wrote the first scene of the first chapter and I enjoyed it. I don't know how much I love it. I had to reread the ending and I kind of got to figure out where we're headed because like I know where we're headed by the end of this section, obviously. The inciting incident will end chapter 1. Which sounds weird because like you're supposed to do it like 10% into your novel is like a good place to put your inciting incident. You gotta set the characters, setting, whole 9 yards. But each section is about 7,000 to 8,000 words, which is why I'm gonna say it's probably the end of the inciting incident will happen. And I'm already thinking like all these different things I could do for the inciting incident, and I'm really excited because I set up a few things, which is really exciting as well. Like in 1 year before, or maybe 3 years before, I can't remember which one exactly, which section of the book it is. There's a whole thing a character does that you're like, why do they do that? And it happens for the inciting incident, which is really cool. And then you get the experience of doing it for the first time. It's fun for me as an author, and I'm curious to see how well it works as a reader. I'm also curious if the structure will work out in the end. I don't know. But that being said, that's kind of what I did for camp, and that's my book writing update for you right now. I will update you guys hopefully soon with more writing for this story. I would also like to mention I'm currently working on a second project as well because I can't help myself, and this second project eventually will take over, but I'm hoping that maybe I could get done with this before then. We will see. That being said, I hope you guys are enjoying your writing time. Let me know down below what your writing is like. Is your camps going the way you want them to go? I'd love to know in the comments down below, and I'll talk to you guys all next time. Thank you guys so much for watching, and goodbye.